Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. Decent Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever!
I will sign no treaty, Senator.
I am the Senate.
This is the way.
Hello, Star Wars fans, and welcome to the latest episode of the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This episode is recorded on Sunday, the 5th of November 2023, using the powerful diode of the Force, which pairs two positive sentient beings, making them one in the Force, and showing a connection that spans across space and time. Otherwise known as Microsoft Skype. My name is Stephen, the Chancellor of the Senate, the Brixie Brit contingent of this otherwise American crew, as we get together to talk positively about Star Wars for the next hour or so. This episode is brought to you by Marchion Row.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is me, Marky Mark, chillin'.
Or Marchion Row, as we like to say. The High Republic is back in the form of Phase 3 stories, with a dastardly, ever-ready, evil leader of the Nihil is shown off his expertly green-blue skin and flashed around some dead Jedi's lightsaber as the might of the Nihil reach across the galaxy. But anyhow, before we get going, it's time to hear a word from our sponsors.
So, who says only guys can be heroes? My goofy older brother, that too. I say, what about Florence Nightingale? Or that Queen Elizabeth person we read about in class? They were heroes, just like Queen Amidala. There she comes. She's gonna get a lot of candy this year. Let's follow her.
Now at Big Kmart, all Star Wars kids costumes are on sale.
Thank you, sponsors. Thank you very much. Great.
Good luck.
Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Keeping the meals on the table and the lights going in our little HQ here. So, whereas I'm in the UK, I'm joined across the pond by my positive friends in the United States of America. And appearing in random Skype order, we have Ryan.
Hello there.
Tony.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Yeah. Ricky.
Hello.
And last but not least, Ron.
Greetings and salutations, fellow senators, Chancellor.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Because, but as ever, before we get going into the actual pod stuff, the filling of the pod today, we have some questions. I'll ask the questions at the start. If I might even remember to repeat the questions in the middle, and then we'll get the answers at the end. So if you want to know what the answers are, skip to the end, but don't skip to the end. Listen to us and then hear it at the end. Don't skip. Got it? Right. So, as related to what we've got coming up on the pod, which I haven't told you about yet, but here are today's questions. Have a think about them during the episode, and don't Google. For goodness sake, don't Bing, and don't use ChatGTP or Google's Bard. Or go and get some book off your shelf.
How many are there?
Yeah, use your grey matter. Use what you were born to use. Have a little think. Write something down, and then see if you're right at the end. Because it's all numbers are the answers to the questions this time around. So, as we'll be talking about in a minute or shortly, on the 31st of October. Well, actually, it's not the 31st of October. I think it's the 30th of October. Anyway, it's October 2012. George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, but reportedly, I should say, for how much did he sell it for? Have a think. It's more than a few quid. I'll give you a clue. It's more than $1 billion.
What?
Yep, it's more than $1 billion.
We're doing Prices Right rules
He's
again.
mega rich. We'll get into that actually. He's even that deal has done him very well indeed.
Is that in Republic credits or
No, yeah. In US dollars.
Okay.
In US dollars. We'll go to the nearest billion because there's just too many numbers otherwise. And the second question, I saw this online, so I don't even know if it's accurate, but we're just enjoy the fact that somebody who posted it on Reddit is actually telling the truth. As of March this year, if you wanted to watch everything Star Wars on Disney Plus, how many hours would it take you?
Is that in billions too?
No, it's in hours. It's in hours.
Billions of hours.
Yes. How many hours would it take you to watch everything Star Wars that's on Disney Plus?
Mm-hmm. Including the Ewok movies.
I can tell you, it's more. It's. Let me see. Well, it's more than 50 hours, less than 500. But that's just, don't take that as. Let's just give you the rough ballpark figure. So how much did Disney? How much did George Lucas sell Lucasfilm to Disney for? And how many hours worth of Star Wars goodies is there on Disney Plus if you were to watch it all one after the other? But now it's time to get on with the show.
We including like the in that countdown. We including like the behind the scenes things and the industrial light and magic things, or just Star Wars story things?
Yeah, like behind the attraction of the Star Wars episode.
Look, somebody just wrote this fact in Reddit. I don't know whether they.
All right, so we don't have
trainers.
We'll make our guesses and go from there, and whoever gets close wins. All right.
What about like the Phineas and Ferb special?
We'll go to the nearest hour, so it won't really make much difference if you include the extra stuff. Yeah. Okay. So coming up on the agenda, we'll be talking about Disney acquiring Lucasfilm and everything that has come since, which might help you build up exactly how many hours worth of Disney stuff we've got. And we'll be talking about the High Republic Phase 3. I've got to say something else for a minute then. That is just starting, and we've had a few little bits of High Republic stuff since we last talked High Republic stuff, so we can catch Ron and everybody else up on what the heck's going on at the moment. But before that, we're going to go around the table, the massive table that reaches across the Atlantic Ocean, so that we can all sit here virtually and talk Star Wars and see what everybody's been up to in the last. Well, actually, we haven't had around the table for about 2 or 3 months, so go crazy on your Star Wars world in the last few months, and we'll start with Ryan.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yes, you're first. Right in Skype order.
Okay. Last few months, let's see. The main thing is just books and comics. I mean, not counting anything with Ahsoka. I really haven't picked up any toys or action figures. I picked up the new start of Phase 3 comics for the High Republic, Shadows of Starlight. I was able to find From a Certain Point of View, Tales of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi book. I was able to find that, so I purchased that. But now I realize I'm probably going to have to put it on the back burner for a little bit because I'm still trying to finish Tales of Light and Life book. I got like 2 large chapters to go. And then I'm most likely going to move directly into the Eye of Darkness High Republic book. So mainly Star Warsing for me has just been just a lot of books and comics. I really didn't pick up anything new this time around. And as far as Halloween, unfortunately, I didn't dress up anything for Halloween this year. First time in a long time. I've been dressing up for Halloween for a long time, but man, this year I just wasn't. Me and the wife just wasn't feeling it. So no Star Wars costume or anything for me this year. But yeah, it's pretty much just the basis of it. Lot of reading Star Wars, more Star Wars than I've ever read before. So definitely keeping me busy there.
What was that photo you published that nobody else can see, but we see in a little group about the Thrawn Lego stuff?
Yeah, so my comic store usually gets the off-brand, the Lego minifigures, and they just got a little new stock in, and they have a whole bunch of little Thrawn Legos. I didn't pick one up because I don't have them with a good ship to go with. I only have 2 ships, the Fire Spray and the N1 or whatever from Naboo. So I only have those. Well, the Mandalorian ship, the N1. I only have those 2. So if I get Thrawn, I'm like, well, I need something for him to drive around on. But my LCS did have a Thrawn Lego figure, which I'm still on the fence. It's very cool. So I may get him down the road. But yeah, that's what that picture was. Nice Thrawn Legos.
Very blue. Very blue. That was a 90s pop group over here in the UK as well. I really hope we didn't make it to America.
Eiffel 65?
Yeah.
Are you talking about those guys?
Blue
Man Group?
Yeah, there was a pop group called Blue. Google it.
That song is still great. I'm blue without the beat. I would die. Yeah, that sounds great.
That's a song I hear in my head whenever Thrawn pops up on screen.
I thought he's going to do the Shark song in a minute. Daddy Shark. Da, 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 da. Okay. I haven't even got any children, and that damn song keeps coming up in my head every so often. Okay.
Yeah, right. It's catchy like that.
I know. Gosh, dear. I got me watching Bluey as well, Ricky. I've been watching this forever. Oh no. Yeah, Dad, Mom. What's the other one? Ringo? Dingo? I can't remember.
Yeah, Bingo.
Bingo. I don't even have kids, and that thing is popping up.
I know, it's terrible.
I have kids, not that age. So.
Oh, dear. Okay. Right, is that it?
We're going to turn to a Bluey podcast.
Yeah, we have a Blue podcast. We should do. Yeah, Everything Blue. Everything Blue podcast we should have. And we could talk about random anything that's blue. Okay, right. Okay, moving on then. Tony.
Yeah, so I haven't been up to much Star Wars since Ahsoka ended. I think I picked up that Timelines book that Ryan was talking about, and just kind of been paging through that. But other than that, nothing much.
I gotta ask, which one did you get? Because I just learned today there's actually two of them. Costco has a timeline version of their own. Like there's a timeline edition for Costco. So did you get the regular version or the Costco edition?
No, I guess I got the regular edition. I just ordered it on Amazon. So
yeah, I just learned.
Yeah, fascinating. So is the Costco one newer, updated, or is it?
It has more pages. Like it has a breakdown of the Millennium Falcon. It has like an equipment of Sabine Wren. It has, I think there's 2 or 3 other things. It doesn't seem like it has the additional timeline stuff, but it has more information.
They said they said we'll take 20,000 copies for all our Costco stores, but we want a little special edition or something to make it unique because people go into Costco, see that now we'll just order it online. So right, if they can sell it, if they can showcase that it's the special Costco edition and it's having extra stuff, then you'll be like, oh, let's pick it up now. That makes sense.
Costco today. I'm gonna go check it.
Easy enough to do it. So yeah.
The cover is different. It's it has the big
so it's super obvious. That's what you're saying.
Sort of. The images are the same, but where it looks like a whole rainbow of colors behind them, the Costco version is just a big purple circle, but it has additional pages. And I'm hearing it's selling for only $20. So it's like,
ouch.
$21.99.
I will see if mine has some today. Supposed to go to Costco today. So.
I'm sure you can get it cheaper on Amazon.
So I still 100% recommend this book. If you have a Costco near you, just go there, check it out. Support that too instead of ordering online somewhere. But yeah, that book is dropping in price big time. And I still don't mind that I paid $45. I'm not like upset about it because I think it was still worth it. So
yeah, I think I paid like $25 when I ordered it.
Well, it's already outdated, so the timeline was for.
That's the thing about those books is that pretty much once you get them, they're already outdated. Because especially nowadays, that there's constantly things coming out between books, comics, shows.
Like I have this really huge like a Star Wars year by year book that I got like decades ago, and like it ends with Clone Wars. But I love the book though; it's amazing.
Anything print is going to be that way.
I don't get them anymore. I used to get the ones like the visual dictionary, the ones that are kind of like show or movie specific. I would get those, but these big ones that cover everything, I usually don't get them because for that reason that they always keep getting outdated and whatever. But I don't know, I hadn't picked one up in a while, and Ryan was really recommending this one. So, and yeah, it's really a great book. So definitely, if you don't mind it getting outdated, especially like you guys with the High Republic, I'm sure it's outdated in that respect, but it's definitely worth it. So.
Who knew Costco was in UK? Was doing a quick search here or whatever, and yeah, so you could potentially be picked up in the UK. Now the picture they shows the ring of behind all the photos though, but it is all sorts of colorful rainbow effect, like you were saying is the Amazon version, where I think you said the Costco version was sort of all one color, all purple. So your mileage may vary in terms of what is found in the UK Costco's, but still a good nugget to know. Thank you, Ryan. And I will concur. I ended up picking up the book, ordering it from Amazon, found it at some relatively decent price, solely based on Ryan's recommendation. He was gushing over it, and it seemed to be a good book to have because it did cover it up, but knew it's going to be outdated, or there's going to be an addendum, or there's going to be another version of it at some point in time as they add more and more. But this one seemed to be, and it is well worth the original price, the $40 or whatever it was. And if you find it under 30, find it under 20, definitely something to recommend to pick up, because it is a tome. It is a well chock full of pictures and information book.
Yes. I definitely want it. I think it's £20 on Amazon here, $21.99 instead of Costco. I didn't know Costco was over here, but I don't go out much.
You can go get that book and a giant can of nachos.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I wanted to say, as soon as Ryan said there's another version, I want to say this is getting out of hand. There was two of them. I couldn't quite squeeze that one in, unfortunately. Okay. All right. Ricky, sorry.
Hello. I've just been rewatching the movies. Kind of doing like a movie live action marathon. So I'm on Kenobi now. So you gotta finish. I'm on the first episode, so that was good. Revisiting that, so I'm excited to revisit all that goodness with Vader and everything. So I think Ahsoka really put me back in the prequels. So yeah. So and speaking of which, I was according to kids from Halloween, I was the guy from Fortnite, but I was Anakin for Halloween, so that was pretty fun. Didn't see any other kids dressed like Star Wars this year though. It was really weird.
Yeah, my wife handed out candy and she said that she only saw 2 people. I was like, oh boy. But that's the thing. That there needs to be some big screen movies to bring everybody in.
I didn't see any in the stores though. It was weird. I don't know. Maybe because I didn't even see any Ahsoka costumes in the store. But I don't know. It's been really weird going to the store now because there's like nothing on the shelves. Like there's like absolutely nothing in my Walmarts or my Targets. Just that same Lando figure still sitting there swinging from the bag. Yeah, it's so strange. But yeah, no, it's pretty much been. I haven't read anything new. I've been falling down YouTube rabbit holes watching people react to watching the movies. So that's been pretty interesting. I was watching this one channel. You guys are called RT TV or something like that. It's not safe for work, but I guess they started doing reviews watching Mando, and then they had never, like 3 of the guys never seen them. It's like 5 guys. They're like in their 20s. But I guess 3 of them never seen anything Star Wars except for Mando. And so they went watching episode 1, 2, they watched Clone Wars, and then they watched episode 3. And it's just weird. Like they were so surprised watching episode 3 with Count Dooku getting killed early and all that stuff, because they went through this whole journey meeting him in Clone Wars, and then you end up seeing him die the first 5 minutes of the movie. So that was interesting. Yeah, I always like watching things that people enjoying Star Wars, and these guys were enjoying it. So that was pretty fun. But yeah, that's pretty much been it. I haven't got anything either. I haven't bought anything new, or yeah, that's pretty much been it. It's been pretty just Ahsoka stuff. That's it. Oh, Fortnite had Ahsoka in it. I was playing that, and I got her. I think Ryan did too. So
yeah, I unlocked her, and now I've been playing that game like crazy with the kids. So
yeah,
that's gonna be money, man. I spent my first like $10 on it. Ever history was the other week just to try to get that Ahsoka skin.
Did you buy another Star Wars skin?
No, I bought it so I can unlock the Ahsoka skin, and then I leveled up to like 100 so I can get 800 credits. And the night before they switched everything out, I was able to purchase a Boba Fett skin. So now I play as Boba Fett all the time. So I like rushed like crazy to get those free 1,000 credits or whatever.
Yeah.
And I spent all on Boba Fett. So I said I'd never take my money, and it got that $10.
I have all the Star Wars skins, so don't feel too bad buying one.
So you spent the $10 not specifically for the Ahsoka, but it helped you get to the Ahsoka.
Yeah, it's like you buy the season pass and you can unlock the quests and stuff, and then you can earn Ahsoka, but you have to purchase that initial.
But you have to. Yeah. So you can't just buy Ahsoka outright. You have to. And then
I think it's good, but it's like $20 or something like that. Later on, they'll offer it like down the road. Because they're offering all these Star Wars skins for
Usually
Halloween.
they don't though. If it's unlockable like that in the game, they won't bring it back in the item shop. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
I just know they have all the Star Wars skins for Halloween. They
Yeah.
had a whole week of Star Wars where you can rebuy everything.
And then you said about how something ended. They end a campaign or they end something with it. But if you bought it, if you have it, you can continue to use it in the next campaign or in the next season or the next whatever it is.
Yeah, it's just.
But it's nobody else can buy it right there because
there's like a rotating item shop, so it switches out every day. So if you're lucky enough to have the funds there while the Star Wars stuff is in there, you can get it. But like 5 o'clock every day, it changes, so you could miss it. So.
But it sounds like too, you can't just go in with a bag full of money and buy what you want to buy or whatever, that you had to buy into it and then progress your way through to earn the Ahsoka one. Others, it sounds like you can buy, but some you have to actually play and earn.
You could do both. You can spend $20 on very specific big fancy outfits, or you could spend like $10 and it gives you access to the pass. And then if you level up to like 100, then it gives you like 10 skins that are in the pass type of thing, and it gives you V-Bucks to buy other things. So
guess right, because isn't Fortnite I'm going to date and show my Fortnite's a game where you're playing against others, so they need to encourage people to be playing so that you get on there and are playing other people, right? That there's people.
Yeah, each match is like 100 players.
Yeah.
Is Fortnite the thing with the storm?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think Darth Maul, Ahsoka, and Vader are ones you can't buy. Those are ones that were only exclusively in the game. You had to earn them, so and unlock them.
Yeah, I didn't see those. So
and then if I want to buy your Ahsoka from you, Ryan, can you do it that way? Can you buy it from somebody, or you'd have to buy their account, take over their whole account?
Yeah, you have to take the whole account. Yeah, I wondered about that because there's some really expensive skins out there, but they have to sell the whole account, and I was like,
you can't transfer
it. Much work. Yeah. So
would need to consider selling my account.
To have my youth back and have scads of time to be doing something like that.
Yeah, he's spending scads of money is what he's doing. It's like birthday money. Well, it's your money. Do what you want with it, man. So just so you know, that's my Xbox account that you're playing on.
I play way too many video games.
I got you under my skin. Okay. So my skins. Right. Okay. Last but not least, it's Ron, and we get to hear how Halloween went.
Oh yeah.
Greetings everyone. Yeah, so Star Wars since Ahsoka ended, kind of quasi did a rewatch. It was just kind of on in the background, but I would like to be able to spend a little bit more time with that and pay a little bit more attention. And picking up various things, but yeah, what everybody wants to hear was there's been so much since we haven't had a roundtable that I have found some things out in the wild, but boy, I'm so far removed from what they were. I can't think of, didn't think to jot them down or otherwise remember what any of the various pickups were or what was seen while I was out and about. Have seen some new things. Ricky talked about stuff not trickling out. It's definitely your mileage may vary from store to store, Walmart to Walmart, Target to Target as to what's seen in different stores and what comes off the stock shelves. That what was the Young Jedi series, or it's still going on maybe or whatever, that I remember seeing an end cap for those toys and kind of surprised by it. I was like, oh wow, there's what are these kind of thing? And then it's like they blew through them all. Like that was a crazy popular line, or they pulled it down because they put it out too soon, which I don't think is the case there, whatever. I think that line might have actually had a whole lot of success geared towards the age group that it was geared towards, that in the stores that I saw that display of those items for that show, they're gone. And that's, I would have expected them to sort of languish, but apparently
I would hope that
that's
kids
hitting
gobble
for the
those
kids.
up and not like old collectors.
No, that's what I mean. I can't. That line was not geared towards collectors, or I just can't think collectors are looking based on previous history of other lines for shows or something like that. It just they I don't want to say turn their nose up to it. It's just not something that's gobbled up or whatever. So yeah, hopefully I'm like you, Rick. Hopefully that it was parents and kids that have been watching that show on Disney Plus Because if you recall, a Senator or two ago, whatever, I found out that it's not just a Disney Plus thing. They're actually running it in their rotation on one of their TV channels. So there's a way for kids to find it every Saturday morning or every day when they get home from school. I don't know what the schedule was. Didn't get into that. I was just surprised to see it actually on a TV show. So yeah, there's a number of things picked up there, but everybody's heard, I'm sure everybody sort of heard or saw some post about the Ollie's. Ollie's is a bargain store, a closeout type of store that buys up big bulks of stuff from other stores that didn't sell through, or the season's over or whatever. And they must have bought a warehouse of stuff. Because I don't think any of these things were exclusive, but a lot of people know about the Trapper Wolf Black Series helmet. There was a Captain America Winter Soldier shield that was heavily discounted, and then the retro figures, the series of retro figures that was the Mandalorian and Beskar, Obi-Wan, Dark Troopers, Ahsoka's. There was a bunch of, so they had scads of those, and I'm lucky enough that I have a couple of Ollie's that are somewhat near me in my travels that I hit them, and they had the Micro Machines. I'm gonna post some pictures here, whatever. Anyway, they had Ollie's. Their tagline is "Good stuff cheap." I'm making a plug for it. There's our sponsor for but they had excellent trick or treat fodder. So I have for years, and anybody knew, but anyway, I have always, if I saw something Star Wars on clearance, I couldn't just listen to the language. I was like, oh, that's a cool thing. I would pick up the clearancey stuff or whatever and stash it away, either thinking I was going to, resell it or add it to the collection or have fun with nieces, nephews, whatever, kids, all that sort of stuff. But some of the stuff we got so much extra, I would stash away, give it out for trick-or-treaters. That if you showed up at my house in a Star Wars costume, you got a huge handful of candy and an extra handful of candy, and I'd throw a Star Wars trinket or two in your trick-or-treat bag or whatever. So this stuff from Ollie's was marked down ridiculously cheap. They had the Mandalorian, the 3 3/4 inch figures were what, $3-4. The Micro Machine X-Wings and Darth Vader, and there was the gauntlets, Mandalorian fighter. What else was there? There was a Razor Crest, but it was 15. That was a little steep. But anyway, those small ships were like $5. A lot of great trick or treat fodder to be handing out to Star Wars cans. So I bought way too much of it, but I bought a lot of that because a lot of that will be universal. The X-Wing and TIE fighters from that Micro Machine line or Micro Series. What is the heck of that line? Mission Fleet. I knew it wasn't Micro Series. The Mission Fleet line or whatever. The X-Wings and TIE fighters that were a part of that. That's going to be universal. That's going to last a long time. It's not tied to a show is what I'm trying to say, like the Mandalorian things. And the Mandalorian will last as a cool thing to hand out for a while because everybody loves a Mando or the Dark Trooper. It's not specific figures. So I picked up a number of those to hold on to for years. So I participated in my first trunk or treat. My work did a trunk or treat. And if you don't know what that is, it's where if you don't have a house, whatever, they just get a big parking lot. Everybody pulls their car in, decorates their trunk, and the kids walk around the parking lot and get way too much candy in a short amount of time. So our work was having one. First time we ever tried to do it. So I said, well, it was a game day decision, but I was free that night. It was nice weather. It was like, yeah, I'll do something. So I, of course, did something Star Wars, grabbed my Star Wars trinkets, threw on a Boba Fett costume that I had, and stood there and did trunk or treat. Didn't have a single Star Wars kid the entire night. You want to talk about this? It's a good thing I was wearing a mask because there was a level of disappointment on this old man's. But Kid at Heart's face was like, what? There wasn't a single Star Wars. I didn't give out one thing. I was crestfallen, truly crestfallen. But I came to terms with it the day after getting out of my funk, that a trunk or treat is geared towards littler kids because it's a shorter walk. You're not walking from house to house across the neighborhood. I don't even think I saw any teenagers, kids, if you will. They were all the little kids, the little princesses and unicorns and pirates and firemen type of things or whatever that they were. I'm in my mind, I'm trying to justify why I didn't see any that they're not old enough for the Star Wars yet to be wanting to dress up as a Star Wars character. That's why I didn't see it. And we had. We had well over probably 150 kids come through there because I had 2 bags of lollipops that were 75 each, and I burned through both. And I didn't give too many extras away. Trick or treat night at my house proper, thankfully, my little town community, we do it on Halloween. I think that's very important. Public service announcement for all the towns or anyone that's in a town that doesn't do it. It should be done on Halloween. As a kid,
I don't know, man.
I hated when it wasn't on Halloween because as a kid, that's when the trick or treating and the spooks and all the stuff. When the town mom said, "Oh no, we want to do it on the Friday before Halloween so that we can go to Halloween parties," or whatever the reasoning was behind not doing it actually on the 31st. It didn't have the same vibe. So I appreciate that our town does it on Halloween.
Mine also does it on Halloween night, but I have participated in other years that other towns will have it the weekend before Halloween. So like Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember exactly. It's one of those two. But it's like noon to 4. And I loved
that's
it.
wrong too. What?
I loved it, man. Like, because you could see all the costumes. It gets dark. I know where you live. It gets dark at 7 o'clock or earlier. And
that's what I love about it. So ours is from 6 to 8. So the 6.
So I can't see anything after like 7 o'clock. It's total darkness, other than me spinning around, a rave light like a lunatic. But you go noon to 4, you get to see everybody. I don't have to worry about running through the dark alleys when you have whole streets that aren't lit up and stuff. So I see both reasons for it. And I've worked in a job where I had to move birthdays around, and I had to move how it's like, you know what? I worked during your birthday because I traveled.
Yeah.
I was like, I worked your birthday, so your birthday's now this day. So I'm fine with moving holidays. I've moved Christmases and stuff like that. All for
blasphemy.
It has to be dark. It has to be Halloween night, and I have to have my lightsaber to use as a flashlight.
Well,
don't
talk to me about Halloween costumes when it's 80 degrees and I have to wear a jacket for mine. So I grew up in Michigan, man. Every Halloween costume had to wear a jacket.
You had to wear something underneath of it to make it puffy. Yeah, the trick or treat time frame goes from 6 to 8, so you get the first hour is kind of daylight. So there's little kids and you get that part. But then as the evening progresses, the decorations for the house and everything pop, and all the lights and jack-o'-lanterns work. That's why I wouldn't like a noon to 4. A candle and a jack-o'-lantern is no fun from noon to 4.
That's when you paint the pumpkins wrong and you don't carve them.
Yeah, jack-o'-lantern should be carved. It's scooped out with a candle inside. It's a whole thing, it's tradition with me kind of thing. So anyway,
smell that pumpkin in the air.
we had our trick or treat that 31st, and like I said, that 6 to 8 time frame works really well for all the kids and scads of kids. And we did end up having a number. I think I always lose count because I'm not wasting the brain cells. I'm enjoying the moment of having kids and the line of kids. You got to walk across my porch. You start at one end and come through all the spooky. That's not spooky and scary, but jack-o'-lanterns and decorate. You got to earn your candy. I'm not just standing there at the steps and move on. So you get a line of kids, whatever. And I think I ended up with 8 or 9 Star Wars dudes this year. Mandalorians, Boba Fett's, and Grogu. Just one Grogu, I think. Although I almost thought he was Shrek. Might have been Shrek, whatever. But I'm like, no, the ears are pointy. I'm pretty sure Grogu or Baby Yoda. Yeah, but she had like blood on her face. I was like, well, you're like but I think just going for a spooky Grogu. I had one kid. He didn't have a mask on, and I'm like trying to ask, he's young, and I'm trying to ask who he is, and he's a young kid, so he's not and he says Star Wars, and I'm like, oh, you're somebody from Star Wars? Who are you? I'm trying to make the costume out. I can't really make it out. The jumpsuit type of thing. What is Star Wars? So I'm like, well, who are you? He's not telling me who it is, and I'm a bit of a stickler, but even the other kids that'll say, oh, I like Star Wars. I'm like, you got to dress up as a Star Wars dude for me to hook you. And he says Star. And I'm like, so I gave him a couple of trinkets, a couple of little things. And then as he's walking away, his friend says he's from Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, oh, he's saying he's Star-Lord. So he got a couple of things from me, even though he wasn't Star Wars. Yeah. That's almost like, but yeah, I didn't hook him. So I'm posting in the chat some of the stuff that I've had found on clearance to hand out. That Mission Fleet stuff I think is the coolest thing. Ships are cool, figures are cool. I had some Ahsoka's squirreled away, and I had a Lola squirreled away. If I saw any Princess Leia's or any of the female characters, anybody dressed up like. But as Ryan said, I think Ricky said, it without having a Star Wars movie, a Star Wars show, something to really tie in and get the kids at that point in time, whatever. They're not really clamoring for it. I did see Mando and Boba Fett costumes out on the shelves at Walmart and the like, and the Party City type stores or whatever that were.
I blame the parents, Ron. I blame the parents for not having them dressed up like Star Wars.
You let the kids, so I was excited for the kids that did dress up as Star Wars because of that reason, that Star Wars isn't prominent, isn't a big thing, or isn't a big thing going on right now. That those kids did find it and did want to do that, and so hook them up with all kinds of the goodies that was found. One of the things I was excited to get, that Micro Galaxy Squadron. What was it? It's not the Mission Fleet, but it's the Micro Galaxy thing that's ended up scoring a number of Boba Fett Slave Ones for crazy discounted price, whatever. So the Boba Fett that showed up, I made sure that I hooked him up. I'm like, you got to have one of these. Come on, I had my share of fun. It's such a blast.
I got to see a picture of that Boba Fett costume.
I got a trunk or treat photo somewhere.
Why didn't you wear the old school one you bought last year? Didn't you buy like the old fashioned, like just the mask and the suit thing? Did you have a Vader?
So Ricky, I did contemplate. The what is that? The Don Post.
Yeah.
They made Don Post retro outfits, but they made them large enough for adults. And I did, Ricky. I contemplated doing my Vader for the trunk or treat type of thing, whatever. But I didn't
think
any
sadder with no kids wearing that costume.
Yeah. I didn't think anybody there would
appreciate it.
Get what was maybe some of the parents, whatever, with that type of costume, the way the what you wear over your body isn't Vader. It's a picture of Vader. We talked about that last year, how it's just the picture of the character you're supposed to be, so that when you walk up to people's houses, they know who you are. I did, standing there as Boba Fett, got a lot of oh, you're the Mandalorian. It's like, oh, jeez, no, I'm Boba Fett. Clearly, come on, get with the program, kid. But they weren't there as Star Wars fans, so I couldn't really go too bad. I'm looking for that photo. I'll find it later.
You're like, I'm a Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, a Mandalorian, but just standing there, sweeping my head back and forth, having fun being Boba Fett in a mask. And it's literally just a mask. I'm realizing, I should find a Boba Fett helmet if I'm going to do this, because it's a pretty nice adult Boba Fett costume that I picked up from a GameStop one clear, after Halloween. It was crazy. It was ridiculously expensive before, and afterwards it was ridiculously cheap. I'm like, well, I'll have that in my stable, because I'm not usually one to dress up. Doing Halloween trick or treat, I don't like to have a mask on. I like to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm handing out candy like crazy and got to get new stuff going. Got the fog machine going. It's a whole deal with me. I enjoy my Halloween trick or treat. But yeah, had a number of kids show up. They're all kinds of happy and surprised. I love doing it and love finding the clearance stuff. My better half is a little concerned because I have like enough to do Halloween for a long, long time now. When we only get 6-8 kids, whatever, I'm always worried that it's gonna like get out there, or I'm gonna have like a line of kids out there, 10, 12, 15, 20 kids or whatever, to be able to hand stuff out. So it's always a double-edged sword of, I want to make sure I have something in case people show up, and then I have years where it's 4 people. I always think it's going to be this 4. I still think Star Wars is a huge deal, and there should be 40 kids out there.
You guys still got some Rebels figures back there stashed away.
Oh yeah, I didn't even put a dent in my original stash of things to hand out, which has like an Ahsoka from the original Clone Wars, some things that are probably highly collectible now that I shouldn't be giving away, but at the time they were clearance fodder, so they ended up in the trick or treat stash of a plastic tub.
You had all those Death Star games too, right?
To look at them now and go, oh, I don't know, I should look this up and find out. Oh yeah, that's going for some, but I've got it to give out to kids anyway. So whether I give it out 10, 20 years or 12 years ago, however long ago it was, or give it out now, the kid's going to be happy to be excited to see it. So yeah, had a blast doing that and look forward to it each year.
So I got to know, Ron, so if 2 kids come to your door and one Star Wars is, one is not, you just straight up play favoritism and tell the other kid to like shove off, like, oh, here's a big full of kids, here's toys, and you get a sucker. Like, is that what kind of goes down?
Yeah, and if they're Star Trek, you can them off the board.
So here's my worst scenario, or not worst case scenario, but here's what happens that I don't have a great way to negotiate. That multiple kids, there'll be like a line of kids, 3, 4 deep or whatever. And let's say 6 kids deep, and Star Wars dude is, like number 3. So I'll give the first kid, and I give out a nice handful of candy. I like to have a huge bowl of candy of kind of smallish stuff and just reach in there like a claw machine and just it's falling out of my hands, and it's one time a year. You hook up the kids with some candy, right? So I'm giving out handfuls of candy. Well, when Star Wars dude comes up, I say, well, here's your hand of candy, but hold on for me a sec, because I want to clear all the other kids out of there. I don't want them standing there watching it necessarily. So I'm like, hold on, stand over here for me a second. Just wait. Trust me, it'll be worth it. Hold on. And I'll burn through kid 4, 5, and 6 here because, they just want their candy and they want to go. They don't necessarily know what's going on unless it's their friend or brother. That's where sometimes it can be a challenge. So I'll do that Star Wars, then all those kids are cleared out, and then that Star Wars kid standing there, and then I'll hook him with the various clearance fodder that I have to throw in his bag. Here's this, here's that. I love my Star Wars costume. Talk to him and engage with him a little bit type of thing, and just let him know that I really like Star Wars too. See what they, who their favorite character. If we got that kind of time, I don't want to take all their time from trick or treat. It's not about me interviewing some kid kind of thing. It was just one to let them know that other people it's okay to like Star Wars kind of thing. So but where it's a challenge is, if they're there with a friend and the friend is like, wait, why is he standing around? And the friend is, SpongeBob or something kind of a thing, or the guy from Fortnite or Master Chief, whatever. It's just like, why is he standing, or the brother. That's another challenge too, where you'd have the one brother was Star Wars and the other one was like, well, I like Star Wars too. And I'm like, I really only
not enough, kid.
Got to be a Star Wars for my Star Wars costume people, whatever. I'm going to hook stuff over. So I think I've had where that kid comes back the next year trying to want to wear Star Wars. But yes, Ryan, to your question, to the genesis of your question and what you were going for, I do kind of, sorry, on your way. Here's not a sucker, but here's your handful of candy. Happy Halloween, and see you next year's Star Wars guy.
You got rules and you follow them. I love it.
And Ron says, "Do better," and then
no. But there, I think Steven said there was a bit of the, hey, wait, come here, give that back as Star-Lord's walking away. I'm like, oh, thankfully I didn't, it wasn't major stuff that I was throwing in his bag, because that's just going to confuse everybody as to why is there Star Wars stuff in here. Well, I did have a princess. I don't know what she was this year, but she told me, do you remember a Princess Leia from last year? Do I? No, I barely would remember what I did last week. But of course you say, yes. She's like, I was here when you gave me a whatever, something. I'm like, that's good. That's cool to have that, to hear where somebody says, I was something, 2 years ago, and you still do that. I'm like, no, if anybody I show them my stash. I'm like, that was so much. So that's a cool thing to hear. Where it's a little, I may have been doing this a while, is I'm still in our community and play pickup soccer with everyone, and playing pickup soccer with a kid, and he's teenager, he's maybe 20, he might not be 20, he might be 21 now, 20, early 20s, whatever, and he must have found out where I lived or something like that. And he's like, you remember I came as I don't know, he asked if I remembered it, because there's no way I would have remembered it, but I think he asked if I still hand out Star Wars stuff. I was like, yeah, I do. Why? He's like, well, I came to your house one year as Cad Bane. I'm like, did I hook you? He's like, yeah, you gave, whatever stuff, whatever, everything. But to hear that so far removed from the experience is kind of cool too. So yeah, I just do it just to keep Star Wars in front of kids to some extent, and have fun with it. I'm by no means financially fit to be able to do that. It's a fun thing to do with the clearance fodder stuff that I see, to be able to keep it going like that. Because how cool would that be? Seriously, if you're a kid thinking about your trick or treats, how cool would that have been if somebody were to throw something Star Warsy at you like that?
And they remember it years later.
That would have been the biggest, the one I would love to go back to and find the kids. One of the years, they who made it? I don't even remember. They made a huge X-wing. It was a box that was maybe 2-3 foot tall, and it was open packaging. The X-wing had no functionality whatsoever. It was very, very static. You couldn't remove R2. You couldn't open the canopy. It was all stickers basically. It was just a big giant plastic model till you put the wings on it. But it was being blown out by Targets, and it was less than $10. And so I was scooping them up from all the Targets or whatever. And I remember making up because it was going to be big, dumb, and awkward. There was no way kids were carrying this thing around for the rest of their trick or treat night because it was a big, dumb, awkward package. And I remember making up getting twine around all the four edges like you would wrap a package type of thing, whatever, to make it like a carrying handle of sorts. To be able to help them carry this thing around if they didn't have their parents with them or something like that. And I remember giving a good, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them away, whatever trick or treat that was, many, many years ago. I do recall getting a thank you note from one of the kids for whatever, but I'd love to know, how that worked out for those kids, or what they, because mom and dad are like, well, I'm sure they're like, what the heck is this thing? It's huge.
Like, toys on Halloween.
Right. Who's giving away but yeah, I've had parents that were appreciative. They were in the Star Wars. They might have been a princess or a stormtrooper out. The parents will tend to. My house has a main sidewalk in front that's kind of off. Got to walk up a side path to get to our porch. They'll stand out there and let the kid come up and do their thing, or whatever. So then when they come back with something Star Wars, they're appreciative Star Wars parents as well. That one's always a fun thing too, because like you say, Ricky, who's giving out toys at trick or treat? It's all about the candy. Oh, and I forgot I do have a stash. I have these I don't have a picture of them. Shoot, I have these stormtrooper helmets. They were candy dishes, really. I think that's what they were. Sold at one of the Halloween seasons, whatever. It's a stormtrooper helmet that's got a bowl in the top of it that was supposed to be like where you put M&Ms or Skittles or something like that. So I'll throw Star Wars candy in there. It tends to be from Easter. Shh, don't tell anybody. So it might be the chocolate might be a little, have a couple of months on it, let's say. But I'll fill that up with Star Wars candy. So they'll get their handful of candy, traditional candy, out of the bowl that I'm giving to everybody. But then I'll show them the Stormtrooper helmet with Star Wars candy. I'm like, here, open up. You're going to get a bonus heaping of candy, and dump in the Star Wars candy for the kid, and then hook them up with whatever Star Wars gizmo I might have. Oh, I had Mandalorian. What do I have? I have pencils from Valentine's. That was fun. They cleared out Valentine's. Clearance Valentine's, after Valentine's, like 90% you can find it. So I'll find the Valentine's pack that had something in it, and there was a Valentine's pack that had Star Wars pencils. That was, that's a cool kind of fodder. So threw a couple pencils in each kid's bag as well, just from that kind of thing. I love it. It's a whole lot of fun, and it's a great way to keep Star Wars, to have fun, to show that Star Wars is liked by adults too, I guess. I don't know. It's just something I've done for a long, long time.
You're the spark that ignites the fandom. I was trying to think of the whole line.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to hear if there's a kid that, not because of what I did, but just that somewhere down the line that there's a kid that becomes a fanatic fan like us that's talking Star Wars with friends on a Sunday afternoon. It's that story, man. That's the captivating piece for me. Yeah, that was my bit of Star Warsing.
I'm surprised you haven't got a queue outside. I mean, if I was nearby, I'd dress up as 7 and just turn up and go, oh, yes, I'm a little kid dressed up as Vader. I'd like some candy, please.
I do worry that as people hear, and I talk about this, that people are going to be, showing up out there, or the kids would be like, well, here, put my Stormtrooper helmet on, and just constantly rotating through it. But if they're Star Wars fans that they want a trinket type of thing, I think I've told this story before where I've had the older brother, the 2 brothers, and the younger brother wasn't Star Wars, but liked it, didn't get anything. And later at the end of the night at like 7:53, this car pulls up on the side street, and the ominous kid comes walking through, and he's kind of got his head down. He's being a Vader, or somebody, a Jedi in cloaked robes, I can't really tell. Just kind of is up sheepishly, kind of just the body language. Everything about it was like, he's already been here. Everything, I can tell he's already been here before, and I'm pretty sure he was the older brother. Mom said, go up there and get something for your little brother. And I clearly didn't call him out, didn't say, well, have you been here before, kind of thing. Hooked him with something, tried to, and so much so that's why the story kind of rings true. I remember it and thinking that he had been here before, and kind of thinking it might have been that brother situation. That I remember trying to give him something different, so that they didn't have 2 of whatever I was giving away that year, or whatever I had. That they didn't have 2 of the same thing, that they had something different in some way, shape, or form. So, yeah. Building Star Wars fans. I don't think so. Star Wars builds its own fans. I'm just helping reinforce it, I guess. I don't know.
If anybody's interested, there's one of the chaps I follow on YouTube. You guys might have heard of him, Mark Rober. He's basically like ex-NASA or makes stuff, sort of very ingenious stuff that he can make contraptions. So he's most well known for his what was it? The trap, the parcel traps stuff. Yeah. So people go
the Porch Pirates. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say the name sounded familiar. Right, he would build the.
People go around stealing parcels and stuff, and he puts sort of like booby trap them and stuff with sprinklers and things like that, and fart spray and this kind of stuff. He's been doing that for years. He did the last one this year. He's retired from that, but this year he did one for people trick and treating, all the kids and stuff. So he set up traps for them so that they try to take too much candy. It would either break the table or something else would happen that would scare them and that kind of stuff. In a fun way, not in a way that was going to send them run away and be traumatized and that kind of stuff. But his latest video is up there: Candy Feast versus Rigged Candy Bowl. You can watch it on YouTube. Good fun.
Some of the kids are pretty good. They were just like taking one or two when I was gone. Taking my daughter walking around. Yeah, I was surprised that there was. I would
it's
imagine
terrible.
kids would just grab the bowl and throw them in the bag.
A couple years ago, we had our whole bowl stolen. They took all within 20 minutes. They dumped the whole bowl and they stole the bowl. So the next year, I had to zip tie the bowls to the porch. And I put a big giant cardboard sign that says, "You are being recorded," because I have all sorts of cameras around the house. It's not like I live in a bad area. Kids were just jerks. And so this year, my wife stayed home to hand it out, which only means more leftover candy for me.
Yay.
So I wasn't complaining about that. But yeah, even this year when the kid went trick-or-treating with his friends, it would be like, take one. So our kid would take one, but this monster that he was trick-or-treating with kept taking handfuls. And I kept hearing the kid yell like, "Oh, it says take one, man. It says take one." So kids are just straight up jerks, man. And it's their parents.
Someone had a sign that said Santa's watching.
It's my
That's
camera,
a good one. That's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, even with the camera, you're being recorded. If I'm wearing a costume, a mask, the handful of candy's going in my thing. I don't know if I'm stealing the whole bowl of things, but yeah, it's just in this day and age of cameras. Yeah, I can't imagine anybody would think to do that because you're being captured.
I understand taking one, but I mean, some sweets can be really small. That size of a cent or a penny sort of thing. You want more than one of them, don't you? I mean, surely. But
I'm saying because they have good stuff.
Well, see, my trick or treat ends up being I end up standing outside of my porch. You don't ring my doorbell. I'm standing out of my porch. It's not a long porch, but it's rectangular sort of porch, and the steps are at one end, and I kind of sit on my porch swing if nobody's coming or whatever. But I'm at the other end of the porch, and I end up staying out there all night because there's rarely a 5-minute window if I have one. That'd be the most that I ever have. Where I guess towards the end of the night there might be a little longer windows to where I don't have kids showing up. So I'm not doing the door thing, ringing the doorbell. That would have a queue of kids sitting out there. So yeah, I got the fog machine going and just hang out there. And yeah, some nights Ryan talked about the cold. Yeah, some nights it's brutal. It's cold out. It's just like, oh man, that'll dictate my costume as to whether I'm doing something to try to stay warm and hand out candy or not have to because it's not crazy. Wind is the one I hate when it's windy out and blowing everything around. The kids. So nice weather brings out scads of kids. And yeah, Ryan, to your point, handing out candy or gauging the amount of candy to have is always a challenge because first part of the night I'm handfuling it and having fun, and then my wife points out, we got 3 bags left. I'm like, oh, and we're only like 20 minutes into this thing. I'm like, all right, I better slow my roll here a little bit. So my trick there for everyone, I buy 2 bags of a bag or 2, depending how big. But I'll have bags of Smarties because I like those. So if they're left over, and they'll last for a long time. I'll have bags of Smarties as my go-to end up at the end of the night thing. That if I'm down to the nubs and be like, here's a pack of Smarties, so that you're at least getting something from my house, maybe 2 packs of Smarties or something kind of thing, whatever. But I'm down to my last little bit of candy, so here's the 250 bag of packs of Smarties that I can be handing out if the kids keep rolling. But it's definitely hot in that 6 to 7 hour and tapers off from the 7 to 8. But you don't want to be the house that runs out of candy. You just don't.
You got to flip that light off quick.
I'll see. I'm going to show you my decorations. There's no house. Oh no, I guess I could just pull the power to everything that's on and make the house go dark.
I did the same thing wrong. I was on the porch because I didn't want the doorbell to keep going off because my dogs would just start barking.
Yeah, dogs.
And, But my neighbors next door had it completely pitch black because they weren't handing anything out, so they had their porch light off and everything. So I'm standing there on the porch and I have like some little like a ghost that lights up and stuff like that, and the pumpkins there. There's like a long narrow pathway going around the driveway to my porch. So like I'm sitting there in the dark and mannequin, and then I would keep my lightsaber off, and when I see kids walking up, I turn it on real slow, like the hallway scene.
Yeah, the year I did I guess Obi-Wan or whatever, that was fun because you'd have the lightsaber up on the dark porch and would turn it on as kids would be approaching the house, whatever, just so that they could see what was going on. That was fun.
I was using it as like a traffic controller when I was walking with my daughter around, like crossing the street, like waving it around.
I once had a I've misplaced. I put it somewhere safe for the next year, and then I don't know where the heck that. I have a lightsaber hilt that is just a flashlight, so it's a cool looking lightsaber hilt.
Awesome.
But it had LED and it was a flashlight, and I would use that to see what I'm doing at night, because it's dark out, and see the candy or see my stash or see whatever I need to see. I don't know where the heck. I put that away for the next year to use it the next year, and haven't found it in my Halloween stash yet as to where I put it away safe to use. Got a couple of Star Wars pumpkins that have, over the years, the plastic pumpkins light up, so those are always cool to have out when people notice them.
Hey, did you have that dome thing you bought last year?
Yeah, that worked out well. So I bought that. That was after Halloween thing. It's just a circular thing that's I don't know, 5 inches. Yeah, has a clear spinning top that's painted and a light there that it's doing a projection, a shadow box type of projection thing. So that actually worked out. I found a place to put that on my porch. It's all very Mandalorian and Grogu based because that's what was hot at the time. But it does have a scene where it just says Star Wars across there. So I did have a couple of people notice that going along and appreciate that sort of decoration coming up. Yeah, that thing worked out well. That thing was cool. I had that in my trunk as well for the trunk or treat.
Right.
That nobody, the trunk or treat, it was all about just give me candy and on to the next car, onto the next car. Just like did all this effort to dress up my trunk, and I don't want to say that nobody noticed or appreciated it. But
oh wow, yeah, I was right there. It's on your.
I was the last car in the line, so they were just candy and let me get out of here, man. On to the next. The thing about trick or treat, Ryan, you're talking about it on the 31st. So when we used to when our town would do the other days, we would get other towns, because we're kind of small, other areas, not a lot, but it would happen where other areas whose trick or treat was on some other night or on the 31st proper, they would come to our town. So we'd have so many more kids on the Saturday before the 31st because other areas would hear about that. They'd drive the minivan with 7-8 kids over and and steal our candy too or whatever. So if all the towns sort of go trick or treat and have it on Halloween night, the 31st, then that sort of curbs that to some extent. And I think that has definitely curbed it. It wasn't like we got an extra 100 kids or anything, but it was definitely noticeable. I think I really seem to think we noticed we had more kids.
Yeah, I mean, more people do come out, and it is just people double dipping for candy, which I've done the same thing. So I'm not gonna...
I was so guilty. We knew the house that gave out back in the day, it was the legit Reese cup pack that had 2 cups in it. And they would give those out. You hit that house first, you ran around the rest of the neighborhood, you changed your costume, and you hit that house right before it ended.
Stop where that.
Oh, back in the day it was. As a kid, you free sets of candy, legit free candy or whatever. That was a full-size candy bar. They were not nubbing it at all. It was worth the effort.
Positively Star Wars podcast, and it does not endorse this kind of behavior.
Yes. Please put the disclaimer, kids. Not to
be polite, be nice.
Shouldn't be doing that.
Just take one, be nice, and you might bump into other people like Ron who will give you some goodies if you're very nice.
Yeah, toning for it now, because like I say, I give out handfuls of candy. It's one night a year. It's trick or treat. Kids are having fun, and it definitely is, with that teenager that comes up that's not making any effort whatsoever. It's like, what are you? It's, I'm a student. It's like, oh, geez, what are you? I'd make sure they see that it's a big giant handful of candy that's going into their pillowcase that they grabbed, because I don't need them toilet paper in the house. I had one very industrious kid, had a 5-gallon bucket. he got 2 handfuls from me because it was actually she got 2 handfuls from me because I thought that was the cleverest, most genius, just wishful thinking type of thing to have this huge 5-gallon bucket to be collecting candy. I'm like, that's awesome. Here,
have Home Depot bucket.
Yeah, that big 5-gallon, because so many kids have the McBoo or whatever is from McDonald's, or the small little pumpkins or whatever, and it's overflowing. Oh, so one of my neighbors, I shouldn't be telling the story. Somebody was giving away chalk. Kept seeing chalk in the kids, the big fat round sidewalk chalk, not the little things, whatever. But it was like 4 color pieces in a plastic bag. Where somebody's giving away chalk. I'm like, it's trick or treat. Come on, they want candy. Don't be that house. Gives away something. But I kept seeing it, and as I was dropping stuff in there, I kept seeing chalk. I'm like, who's giving away chalk? Chalk, legit chalk that you write on the street, draw on the street with.
I can imagine the kids getting home trying to chew on that one. This is not tasty.
Yeah, they knew which house gave away the chalk. They're not going back there next year. They want the candy. That's all about the candy on Halloween.
I have a neighbor that they give out glow bracelets, like the Snap.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
in addition to candy, or just
in addition, they have them like laid out, and they had a whole table of candy and stuff, and they have like take a bracelet and
keep you safe. Keep you safe walking the streets. That'd be cool.
Well, then they know who came to their house already.
Oh, yeah. Are you smart enough to take that off?
We do 2 buckets we do the teal bucket. I don't know if you guys have heard of the teal bucket. So
yeah,
we do that also. So that's the one that was stolen from us. They stole that whole teal bucket, which took us a whole 2 years to find another teal bucket. So.
Yeah, I always make sure I get chocolate and I get like normal candies, because then I had a little girl that was like, oh, I don't eat chocolate. I'm like, or I can't eat chocolate. I'm like, okay, well, here's some Starburst and some Skittles,
Yeah, that's what you have for allergies or the chocolate.
Yeah, I didn't know about the teal bucket thing till like last week when my wife was like, oh, I'm like, because she was like, oh, we can get a new candy dish. I'm like, and it was like fluorescent color. Like, oh, that one's cool, it's blue. And she's like, this is like for autism, right? For if a kid
does allergies or something.
It's allergies for people who can't have candy. There's several different types, or it's usually like stickers and pencils type of thing.
So that way you don't scare the kid, because they have some kind of like, they're kind of sensitive or something like that. So if you see the kid with the blue bucket, like, don't jump out and like, traumatize.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the spook. My house is sort of dark, but it's a fun sort of, because I'll have some kids that are a little concerned because the smoke's going on, the fog machine's going off, and there's all the jack-o'-lanterns, and but it's nothing scary about it at all. So it's always kind of a good thing for them to ease their fear, to get over their fears, to come over to me to get the trick or treat, the candy that they're after, kind of thing. Whatever. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of scaring.
My neighbors next
jump
door,
scaring kids.
They're like younger, well, not younger, like in their 20s and 30s. But the dude is out there in the street with like a cool like light up mask, but he like had a fake knife and he was like stalking people walking around. I think the cops got called him because self-control. But they had a guy in the front yard. He had a table out, and he was dressed in like a skeleton mask, or a pumpkin mask. It was orange and shiny, and like a pumpkin like 3-piece suit. He was doing street magic out there. So he had like a table, and he was like doing a bunch of magic tricks, and had this eerie music going on, mystical music for the magic. And all the kids were like, my daughter loved it. Like, that's a good idea. I've never seen anybody do magic tricks on.
I've had the person around from us used to give out cotton candy. Like, they literally had a cotton candy machine on their porch, and then roll us some cotton candy. I was like, dude, you're awesome. Like, it was cool.
Well, I had a neighbor that gave out comics, and that's got me into reading comics, because I got like 3 comic books from him for Halloween.
Ryan, you mentioned you didn't dress up this year. You just weren't feeling it. What? Just weren't feeling it. Just didn't feel like that you would normally get dressed up to hand out candy, or get dressed up to participate in, or I guess you with the kids, you're taking them trick or treating, and you would be dressed up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I dress up all the time. So every year I dress up as something, and I have like a fallback lazy costume. Like I have a
Oh sure.
So I just throw on a Where's Waldo shirt. I already wear glasses. I just put boots and jeans on, and I have the hat. So I just throw that if I'm being lazy, because I went to like daughter's college thing, and I'm like, I'll just throw my Where's Waldo. And I'm kind of like I like jumping in the background of people. I like photo bombing. So I'll just be, people are taking pictures, and I'll just walk by as Waldo and like look at it. I did that in Disney. Like the first time I went to Disney World as an adult, I dressed as Waldo for Halloween because it was in October. I spent the whole night. I like blew off the family, everything, the whole night, walking past people's photos and just like looking as Waldo. So I do enjoy it, but it's like my fallback costume.
I love that, Ryan, because that's one of those things. It has no payoff for you whatsoever, other than knowing there are photos around the country somewhere where people are like, hey, there's Waldo. You never get to hear it. You get none of the satisfaction other than knowing that exists.
There was a guy at Star Wars Celebration this year that was Waldo. I kept seeing him in the background.
It's great. Everyone notices. So it's like my fall. But yeah, I've dressed up as the shoot guy from like Jurassic Park. I think 2 years ago when Squid Games was big, me and the wife dressed up as Squid Games. We bought the mask and everything. I even chalked my driveway because I live in the borough, so I just have a small driveway to look like Squid Games, like the final challenge. Like that was big, but I just didn't feel like nothing was big this year. Yeah, there's like Barbie and Oppenheimer, but I'm like, I don't want to do something like that. Like usually we base our costume around something that's big that year.
Sure,
Like the
something
kid,
pop
the
culture,
kid,
what? Yep.
yeah, the kid went as an inflatable dinosaur. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna be the dude that hunts raptors from Jurassic Park. So I carry around. I went and bought the vest, the hat. I went to the store and like, I want the shortest shorts you have, so I can like show off my arms. I bedazzled a shirt and I went as Richard Simmons. I had like a big wig and I wore like super short jogging shorts and I bedazzled a tank top and it rained all freaking night and I was dressed and I was like, you know what? So I do commit. It was like I said, it's not warm here, man. It's rainy, windy. It's like 30 degrees and it was short shorts, running shoes and like this tank top with like sweating to the oldies bedazzled on it and like this big wig. So like I do usually go all out, but I just didn't feel like there was anything big that really caught my attention this year. So
Any excuse I can use to dress in my Jedi robes, I do.
Yeah. If I had stuff that matched, like I said, I have a stormtrooper helmet, I have Dooku's lightsaber, and I have Windu's lightsaber. So like nothing really goes together for me.
You're like, I'm a Star Wars.
I don't know if I'm allowed to dress as Mace Windu since that's the only saber I have. So I need to find another Star Wars character with a purple lightsaber. So I'm like, I'm not, and I'm bald, so I'm like halfway there. I'm almost all the way there with Windu.
There's one missing
Can't take
ingredient.
that final step.
Yes.
Yeah, I just can't do that last one. I'm not gonna do that. So I can't really ever go as anything for Star Wars just because I don't have like a bunch of stuff I can repeat. So
Just get a generic Jedi robe. You just be like, I'm just random Jedi. I have a costume like that too. So,
You can go as one of those. Talk about the Jedi in Jedi Trins in the High Republic. They're both bald. Kurrit and whatever.
You could have been Markion Rowe for Halloween, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to find costumes for like a balding white guy, because I don't want to buy a bunch of wigs. So it's like, I
Be
can't.
Homer.
I'm not gonna paint my skin, man. That's offensive. I'm just gonna paint my skin. So.
Hey, one of the challenges, one of the things, the current McDonald's Happy Meal is celebrating Disney's 50th or 100. I don't know why it's 100. 100th what? It's the 50th year of Disney World or Disneyland maybe or whatever, but then it's 100 years of Disney. Anyway, there is like there's static little figurines that are all of an inch and a half, 2 inches or whatever, and they're only painted on one side. But there's a number of, I don't have one with me. Shoot, there's a number of Star Wars ones in there. There's a Mando, there's a Grogu, there's a couple. So they're going to be quite the challenge to get, because when you get your Happy Meal toy, it's in a blind box. It's not in the packaging, the plastic bag like it used to. There's 2 to a box. And inside the box, you open up, they're wrapped in tissue paper. So it's kind of hard for the McDonald's people to cherry pick them. It's not impossible, but it's kind of hard for them to cherry pick out the Captain Marvels and the Star Wars ones or whatever. But those are going to be tough to chase, if you will, or tough to get a hold of because of the sheer number of different ones that are out there, of these characters that are out there. There's, what is that, maybe 10, 20, 30,
I'll take
50?
anything that's not a freaking LeBron James Space Jam, because every time we go to McDonald's, that's all we get, because they must have had like leftovers in that, and they run out
of those. Yeah. So that's going on now. That promotion or that current Happy Meal thing is going on now here the 1st of November. So you stand a chance, but it is I'm hopeful that like the McDonald's will do like a trade night or something, because I don't need the Frozen characters and I don't know who else. It's also it's all kinds of Disney characters that trying to score the McDonald's. So I did end up getting Happy Meal for my nephew. Picked him up from school. Anyway, and we each got Happy Meals, and we both ended up with identical boxes. That it was Mando with, I think, Bell, which I thought was odd that both boxes had the exact same toothing, but it might be the rotation of how they do them or whatever, that they didn't mix it up very well. They're just picking them out of the shipper that came to them. That it was that time for the Mando and Bell ones to be coming out, but I felt lucky that
are they together?
Star Wars.
Like
no, they're together in one pack, but they're separate little items. Okay. Separate little standees. Like I say, they're very static.
Because then you can, if they're individual, then you get like two Mandos, like that kind of sucks.
No, I don't think you'd ever get two Mandos because they're in a small little box.
Every time we go on a road trip, we always stop at McDonald's, so it's going to be perfect. So I'll try to see if I can pick some of those up.
It's a cool promo, but you're going to feel very special, lucky, or otherwise, that I got something Star Warsy versus, Mickey.
Unlike that when we do those balls, the what are they called? The mini brands. They have the Marvel, Disney, Star Wars ones, and like when is the Star Wars one? I'm like, it's Star Wars one. The little small things like you got from your work that one time.
So those are kind of cool. I don't know. Are they still doing them?
Yeah, I just bought a calendar from Target that has it's like a advent calendar for Christmas, and it's the Star Wars and Disney and all that stuff in there.
That it's miniature versions of things that you bought off the shelf. It's not miniature collectibles or figurine. It's like a mini figure, a mini 3 3/4 figure looking thing, or a mini. It's just a small version of things that you would buy on the toy shelf. Yeah. It was kind of a neat, gimmicky mini brands, mini promo thing, whatever. That I have a friend or a colleague at work that is in that line, or whatever, knows I like the Star Wars, so he hooked me with some of the doubles that he had gotten over the years, or over collecting them.
Yes. Well, done with our trick or treaty stuff. You're gonna move on.
That's my bit of Star Wars.
I've decided we're moving on. Because we're going to go on and we've got some High Republic stuff to talk about, which is the shortest stuff to discuss next, because it is time for Phase 3 of the High Republic. At last, after a real long, barren summer of lack of High Republic material, we have approaching the first main book coming out in the next couple of weeks. But we've had some bits and bobs before then. We've had the which I've had it on Audible. I think Ricky got it on Audible. The Tales of Light and Life.
No, I didn't.
You didn't? Did you buy the book?
I can't read it. Did you?
I skipped that one.
You skipped in it. You're skipping it.
Is it like a new stories? I thought it was just like a rehash.
No, you're thinking of the story that covers all the small stories from the Star Wars Insider magazine. They collected those into one thing. This is a book almost like from a certain point of view. It's just an anthology book of characters from there. But I'll give you a little spoiler. You can probably just keep skipping it. So.
That's what I assumed. There wasn't anything like relevant to the phase or anything. It's a neat little extra kind of stories, probably, right? Like little side stories.
Well,
or not very neat.
The short summary is obviously the same thing as Ryan. Is that you could probably miss this really, and you wouldn't. I'm just going to try and get a list of what's on it, but it covers all the different phases, doesn't phases of but it's not all in phase 3.
Are you using a hammer? What are you doing?
We
sound like a hammer.
We hear you typing away.
You're a woodpecker on your.
This is 10 years old. This laptop.
No wonder they break on you.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 short stories on this in this book, and they seem to get longer as it goes on. And the last 3 or 4 are like on Audible, they're like an hour long stories, whereas in the first few were like 20 minutes, or barely started and the ended. They're very much snippets. I'm trying to think. Very much akin to what do we have? There's little the very short animated Star Wars stuff that we had as well. But there's nothing essential in it.
I haven't even read that Life Treasury book that I bought last year. That one has
They're all very nice. They're all very tame. There's nothing terrible about it. There's no terrible writer or anything like that in it. It's just that none of it absolutely changes anything you would have from what you've heard already.
They're just kind of little one shots.
Trying to find if there was a summary of it.
It's all filler.
Sorry?
It's all filler.
I can't get the I keep going. Wikipedia thing keeps coming up. I can't see. There's a. Where's the? There's no summary of them, really. Can you remember any of them? I'm trying to find something that's get a summary of the stories that are.
I got quick summaries of all of them.
Oh, okay, go for it then. We'll just risk through them so that people.
So okay, so I didn't finish the last two, and honestly, I don't really see them changing my mind on it. So overall, unfortunately, as much as it is this book, I just don't think was that good and really had that many big moments, except for one story, which was Belle Zettifar's story, but they spoiled it before the book came out. You know, remember the big thing in Star Wars Celebration was like, will Baba Yaga survive? We'll tell you later. And then they're like, guess what? He survives. Here's the story to read. I was like, but you just spoiled the whole mystery of the story. You know, I'm very big on not hearing spoilers and stuff like that. And I'm sure it would have kind of got out because it's such a big thing. But man, the biggest thing that people
I didn't know. You just spoiled it for me, right? I really didn't know. I avoided that whole thing.
Yeah, they announced it after Star Wars
Yeah, I
Celebration.
did pay attention to it.
I was like, we even talked about it. It's like, will he survive? We'll find out next week.
I muted you guys.
And they just released the story, and you know, to not my surprise, but Baba Yaga survived, which is fantastic. And the stories did have some good things, but man, when I was looking for some impact, this book had none of it. It was just small.
So that story's in there where he finds them?
Yes, it's fully in there.
Okay, I want to read that.
He basically, from what I remember, he basically stayed behind on the I can't remember what planet was it? Irin or Iron? Is it one of those two, wasn't it? He basically joins up with this fishing group, doesn't he?
Well, do you want to spoil it, or do you want to read at least that story?
Yeah, you can just tell me. I don't care. I'm probably not going to buy the book to read one story.
I'll just start from the top. So there's the Queen's Bloom, which is a story about Axel when he is 17 years old. So it's just a small story of him in college, gets in a little bit of trouble with kind of like the wrong people. And
his mum got mad and sent him to his auntie and uncle in Bel Air. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like he kind of gets scammed by someone from his school that like robs all these rich people, and it just so happens to be that the person that scammed him works for Alicia. So it's kind of the first meeting between Alicia from the start of the Nile, the open hand, from the open hand. It's their first meeting, but still, it's like they just kind of bump into each other at the end, and she's just like, you cause a lot of chaos, don't you? And then they just kind of walk away.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that. It's a whole bunch of stories of just the characters doing something at random. Hey, I'm at school, and then maybe bumping into some person that we recognize. So it's like a lot of that just didn't interest me. And I love the From a Certain Point of View books. They're still like some of my favorite books. But this just it fills weird gaps and stuff. I mean, I don't know. This book is dragging. Remember how I said one book, the Rise of the Red Blade, I read within a month? I've owned this book for over 3 months now, and I still haven't finished it just because it's dragging for me, man. And I'm probably gonna finish it soon because I have to read Eye of Darkness. I have to buy that when that comes out, November 14th.
I already got the audiobook pre-ordered.
Yeah, so it's November 14th. So I'm definitely gonna jump on that, and I'm excited. So, but yeah, so that was the first story. It's an Axel story when he's 17. He's at college. They meet Alicia. There's A Closed Fist Has No Claws. That's Marta Rowe. It happens after phase 2, and it's with them and the gays. Again, not really a lot happens in any of these stories, but it's just kind of how she starts forming the people, and then she's just like, you know what, you go do your own things while I focus on the gays. and the Leveler. But it really doesn't talk about the Leveler. It doesn't talk about her having one of the rods. It doesn't talk about her cousin Yanaro. Like, it doesn't talk about any of that. It's just her trying to find like a boyfriend, and then like, you know, kind of killing one of them, and then kind of getting with this other person. It's like, okay, you're Everini. She's searching for more Everini, and then she kills this other one, and then she's like, okay, we'll be together now, type of thing. And it's like, oh, okay, you know, it maybe mentions kids, but um, nothing about the rod, nothing about the Leveler. It's just, and we knew this was going to happen. Somehow, she was going to be the relative of Markian Rowe. How she gets there, no idea. And I'm getting a lot of hate online for this because people are like, "The story's great." I'm like, "Nothing happens, man." Like, she just
that is everybody's favorite of the book. It seems, doesn't it?
she just looks for a date. Like, that's it. You know, she's just literally searching for that, and she's sad because she's the only Everini and all this other. So it's just searching and searching and searching, and it's like, okay, so, but I'm gonna whatever, I guess. And it kind of gives the history of the Roe name because it means apparently Roe is like their language. Maybe not their language, but it's let me see if I can find it here in my notes. She looks for Everini on Ryloth. Um Marta has 3 trusted thing. Marta says, yeah, I can't exactly remember, but it kind of
Why does she have to find an Everini though? Why is she being specious?
Yeah. So, and just for, you know, I like quizzical stuff. So apparently Roe's last name means to look. So, you know, everyone's name has like a meaning. So the Roe name means to look. So I mean, that's what you kind of learn.
And then
from the story.
Markion's the eye.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that one. There's the Shield of the Jedi, which if you remember from Phase 2, is that Jedi that has the shield. Well, it kind of talks about that, and it's about
sister, right?
Padawan Rooper becoming a knight, and her test is to find the shield. So the whole story is just her going around the planet being like, have you seen the shield? No. Can you help me with my crops? Sure, I'll help you. Can you do this? No. Can you help me with that? So just like over and over again. And the only good bit of information is that they mentioned the shield was passed down through generations of Jedi. And they do mention one of the Jedi, Jedi Bran Athmarath, fought Sith Lord Darth Caldith. So there is some Sith history with the shield type of thing where it was used to help battle a Sith. So the shield's almost 1,000 years old type of thing. And the shield is passed down from master to apprentice every time. That kind of made me wonder. I mean, you have more than one Padawan in your life, right? I mean, some people have multiple Padawan. It'd be weird if you took this one Padawan and then moved on. Like Qui-Gon was shooting for 2. He's like, shoot, I'll go for 2. I only live for 80 years. Throw me another one.
She's not old, so like, isn't she gonna still need the shield? You know.
I mean, that's the thing, is it passes down to their Padawan as they become knights.
What happened in the possessions?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. That's a good point. So, but I mean, the story's kind of nice because she's got to convince the town folk that there's these spiders in the woods, but the spiders are actually killing things that are worse, so don't kill the spiders. Oh, hey, here's my shield with the spiders. And you're like, oh, okay. So again, there's a story about Rooper in there, and so Rooper's now a knight by Phase 3. The Lonely Traveler Home. It's about Ram Jamaram. I love Ram. He's one of my favorite characters. But as really short notes is he thought Zine, remember the pink girl with like the long tendrils? He thought Zine was homesick, and Zine thought he was homesick. So they try to throw surprise parties for each other. His party falls through because everyone's going to Zine's party, and they throw a surprise party for Ram because he's sad. So it's just like, okay, well, I guess almost not happy. This takes place after the fall of Starlight also. So, wait, no, maybe not. The Tokadana bombing. Oh, yeah, this is just after the Tokadana bombing. So, I don't know if you read the High Republic Adventures comics, where they go to Tokadana and they bomb the Jedi Temple that's across the lake of,
that where they found the guy with the kid with the mask, right? The bone Jedi.
Yeah. Quit. It's something like a real quick. Yeah, that's where they found him. It's in that story. Great story. I loved it. He's a very cool character. He's in the thing, so he talks every once in a while. So he's kind of funny. Like I said, I love Ram and stuff like that. But it's just, hey, we're homesick. Here's a party. So the story was okay.
I'm kind of glad you're going through it because like I don't remember any of the Phase 1 characters because I've been so like stuck in Phase 2.
Yeah. Well, when I get to the Shadows of the Starlight comic book here at the end, you'll hear a totally different tone, man. So, but then there's another story. It's after the fall, so it's one day after the fall of Starlight, and it's about Affy and her crew, and it kind of shows that they were stuck on Starlight for 30 days. Like there was a lockdown on the planet for so this one did have some information because I'm looking for stuff that makes the story broader. So this definitely pointed out that like
Was
the
that
whole
before it blew
planet.
up? Right?
No. It was after Starlight Fall. So this story starts one day after the fall of Starlight, and so the whole planet Iram, the water planet, is on lockdown. So like nobody's allowed to
Oh,
leave. You know, it talks about the real destruction of the planet, where when it crashed, it flooded like cities, like all the coastal cities got flooded, which just brought up another question, which nobody's been able to answer, is that Phase 2, one of the big stories of Phase 2, was how important the wave shield was on Iram. Otherwise, towns would get washed away. And we can't forget that Axel blew up some of the shields and caused some cities to flood. So now we get to what is this, like 150 years later? Starlight falls, and there's no mention of the shields. Like it would have been nice if they at least plunk something in there that the shields were overwhelmed by just the sheer height of the tidal waves, but there's no mention of that whatsoever. And I'm like, you're ignoring a big thing in Star Wars
wait,
where
so
there's
in Fallen Star, I thought they like stopped that from happening. Didn't they like?
in the fall of Starlight.
Yeah, when it crashed into the planet, didn't they like save everybody from the
Well,
disaster?
it crashed into the water and it created tidal waves like almost around the planet, or at least in
Oh,
very close areas. It was so big. Like the comic book Shadows of Starlight literally has half the thing still sticking out of the water. So remember how the
yeah,
Death Star looked from the Skywalker? It looks
yeah,
like now.
yeah. Because
So
they're all just standing around looking at it like everything was fine.
yeah. So this one did have a little bit of information, but it's mostly Affy. The story in a whole is about Affy feel like she's not doing enough, but at least it gave some interesting stuff. So like 1 week after the fall of Starlight, they just kind of do cleanups. There's some planet blockade. They give out bracelets to track people. Like the whole planet is on lockdown for like a whole month. Um, they're trying to leave and stuff like that. Affy and crew go to then they try to search for I guess things to do really. So this just sets up that what the crew of the vessel is doing. So it's Affy. It didn't have much Geode either, but it's just Affy and Leox and Geode pretty much helping the planet. They just hand out food and stuff like that. So it's not bad. It gives good character insight. And then they leave when they're allowed to leave the planet. They go straight to this other planet. I think it's Canarella, and they pretty much say we want to start hunting the Nile. So remember in Phase 1 when the Bind Guild, when we first introduced to Affy and and Leox and Geode and all that, they go to that space station that was owned by Snoke at one point, the Garden, and because of her, the whole Bind Guild was disassembled by the Republic because they realized they were enforcing slavery. So everybody's mad at Affy now because hey, it was easy money, and they're like, yeah, but you were all slaves, and they're like, yeah, but
Yeah, I remember.
least we had jobs. Well, now the Bind Guild totally fell, and this kind of reassembles it. Like, listen, I'm going to start assembling people of the Bind Guild, and we're going to go after the people who really did this, the Nile. So if we see the Bind Guild, they probably won't be called the Bind Guild, but if we see Affy pop back up, kind of they're setting up her story, and that's what I like. It sets up her story for later. That like her character motivation is she wants to destroy the Nile. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. You gave me something to look forward to, where a lot of these other stories did not give you really like. It didn't set anything up for Ram. It didn't set it up anything for Rupert or anything like that, other than she's a knight. But this is the people of the vessel, the ship called the Vessel, have a goal. It is to kill the Nile. And I'm like, cool. I can get behind that. You gave me something to do. So that story wasn't bad. It was okay. The Force provides. So this one's about Vernesta Rowe, and this is I want to say this is after the fall of Starlight. She just and this story was really good too. If Burry wasn't spoiled, this story this story is my favorite. Bur Yaga got spoiled, so that one falls to like my second favorite. But I've been telling people, man, Vanessa Rose gonna have a big story. They got a lot going on with her, and since she's appearing in the Acolyte, yeah,
Acolyte, yeah.
she's appearing in that. Um, they're gonna give her more. They're gonna make her a main focus, and so in this, that's what I like. I like reveals, something that I didn't learn somewhere else. Like I know Starlight Fallen. I don't need a recap of it or you handing out food to people. You know, I need something more. I need something more. But this says that Vanessa Rowe left the order, so she just straight up left. Um, after she felt like she wasn't doing enough, she didn't like where the Jedi were going, and so remember, if we recall, that she killed the other. Was it a Roe? No, no, no. They killed the mother, not the mother. No, I'm sorry, but the lady who Markian was using to give all the to get all the destinations from. Remember, she was like 150 years old and stuff like that.
Oh, that was Santeca, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, she was Mary
Santeca.
So she was given that, and she went looking for that, and nobody can find it. So she left the order. She's just roaming the galaxy, trying to figure out what this message is from Mary Santeca, and everyone's like, "Listen, those coordinates don't exist. It's not a real thing." So she's just a way seeker now. She's just going where the Force, where the Force tells her to go. So she ends up on this planet. This planet is, I think, kind of being taken over by, some guild. It's being controlled, almost like the Hutts, but not the Hutts, where they're controlling the planet, all the crops. So I like that it's a smaller story that she just goes to a planet. She has feelings. She's like, oh, you know what? The Force is telling me to follow this people. She gets in, she helps out this old grandma who ends up being a freedom fighter, and they help free the planet from control of this whole other people. So it kind of sets her up. And then she goes, I'm going to jump to the end of it here. The planet's kind of cool too. That like the whole planet's water, but all the land masses is like grass. So it talks about how everything is like real squishy. I just thought that was interesting for a planet. And then it sets up her next story is that she finds a hauler named Santos, and the lady that she helped free from the planet, this grandma that I was telling you about, the lady that she frees, she says, listen, I could tell that you're lost. You need to go to a place at the edge of wild space called Abi. She says, you will find harmony there and you will find answers. And she gives her like this special coin that allows her to travel there. It's like a payment. It's a hidden place where it's like the only place to know to get there is certain haulers. And you give them this coin and they're like, all right, I'll take you there. Type of thing, you're allowed in. So it's setting up her next mystery is that she's connecting with all these other people and she's about to go to this planet Abi and learn more about it. So again, it was setting up. So I thought that was a really good story. Vernestra's discovering her character more. It was big that she left.
Santos wasn't a Wookiee, was he?
It doesn't say it. I imagine there's not enough letters side by side, so I can't imagine it's a. I wouldn't. It just says
because the guy from Boba Fett, remember the Wookiee? Wasn't his nickname Santos? Yeah.
You mean Chrysanthemum?
Yeah, Chrysanthemum. Remember Boba would call him Santos. That's all I was wondering. Like, is it the same character? Because he's a Wookiee and he came alive.
So that story was good. It sets up Vernestra. And also the other thing, and that's it, I like that it gives information that I didn't know, is that she straight up says the people that died at the fall is Avon, I think that girl, J6, the robot, Stellan, and Emery, her Padawan. So, like, her tall, blonde Padawan, she straight up says he died in the fall of Starlight. And I went back and checked my notes, and I couldn't find that anywhere. I have a specific set of notes that list characters that died.
Wait, Emery?
Yeah, she straight up says he died, so she left the order. Yeah, the book starts off with
I feel like he was in another book after that.
Yeah, it says Vernestra. Well, Fallen Star was like the last book of the series. So it says he all died during the fall. And I was like, because I remember that Vern left and she joined Avar. And then Avar ended up on Starlight Beacon to do that comic, and she battled all the people. And it was like she helped save the whole upper half from collapsing. That other guy, and she was trying to save him, and she battled all these Niles. It was an amazing story. Remember, I specifically said it brought tears to my eyes. The story was so good in a comic book. But it's weird that Vernestra was there, and people brought it up. They're like, wait a minute, Vernestra left Dalna and joined Avar, and then Avar has this big comic story, and you can't even see Vernestra in the background. But then it's announced. But then in this story, it says that Emery died. I'm like, her Padawan. So he must have been stuck on the ship, and I'm like, what? Like, so I was blown away by that because I don't recall it. I don't have any of my notes that he's one of them that he died. But it's like she straight up says he died. I'm like, oh, yeah, that stinks. So it was a good story though. That one had a lot of good information. All Jedi walk their own path. So this is the Bell story, and like I said, we'll spoil it. So he stays there for 30 days. He helps searching for Buri Yaga because he's like, I know he's not dead because, and this is a good character study too because
You should have searched for Emery.
yeah, he did it right. I'm only going to search for my friend. So this is a good character thing too because Bell has this history that he gave up on searching for Loden Greatstorm because he felt like he was dead, and then a year later he discovered he's alive, and then he dies in his arms. So he's got this big scar and his, personality where he won't give up on anybody. And he's like, listen, nobody's found Buri Yaga. I have no proof that he's dead, type of thing. He stays on the planet for 30 days. They actually start calling the Jedi back to Starlight. Remember, that was the end of the story, is they called all the Jedi back to, not Starlight. They called them back to Coruscant, to start. Remember, that was the big Eye of the Storm story. But Bell refuses. He's like, no, I'm not going back yet. I haven't found Buri Yaga. I'm not giving up on him. And he becomes a sailor. Like, he just joins the people of Irem, and he's like, I know you don't like me right now because you blame the damage on the Jedi, even though it's the Nile's fault for crashing the spaceship on there. And so he just joins this sailor, and he gets to know all these other sailors. They get to respect him and stuff like that. All these stories start to pop up that there's these tomes washing up on shores, and it's like, oh, it's bad omens and stuff like that. And he gets one, and he's like, this is Wookiee fur. So apparently Buri Yaga has been yanking the fur out of his body, ties it to look like a little person, and just throws it in the water. So they end up going to this giant whirlpool in the middle of Irem, which like destroys ships and planets, and weather, all sorts of things. It's a haunted area of the entire planet of Irem that nobody wants to go close. And apparently Buri Yaga crashed there, got sucked down into the whirlpool, is now trapped under a cave, eating moss and stuff like that to try to survive. And because he started tossing out these things of his fur, Bell realizes that he's still alive. He goes searching for him. It's a heroic story. He takes this old rickety sub. Everyone's like, listen, we're not going towards this whirlpool. We're not going to it. They called it a maw. They're like, we're not going there. It's just like, okay, well, I'm going alone then to find his friend. And he ends up in the cave. Buri's like malnourished, patches of fur missing. He connects back with his friend, it's really touching, and he has a comm, and he just calls for people to come save him. So a very touching story. People love Bell, type of thing. People love Buri. So it's a very touching story of him not giving up. And that's what I love about the Jedi in this area. They just don't give up, and they're willing to sacrifice everything for a few of their friends. So that was a really good story. After that was Light and Darkness, and it's what is this? This was an okay story. It's about two characters that we haven't met, and the planet is controlled by the Hutts. And this is after the fall of Starlight, and they're mad at the Jedi because in the Republic that nobody's come and saved them from the Hutts. So the whole story is a brother talking bad about the Republic and the Jedi, and the sister being like, no, we have to still believe. And it gets down where they have to steal their own food from the Hutts to survive. And then the Hutts send 2 Rancors into the city. And at the last moment, Keeve Trennis, Jedi Keeve Trennis shows up from the comics. She shows up with Terret and Sarret. They take over Rancors. They start riding Rancors. They drive back all the Hutts. Keeve straight up force chokes a Hutt, lifts him up in the air, and then like body slams him with the force. Like a Hutt breaks all his.
I thought Senate died.
Keeve?
No, Senate or Sarret, whatever.
No, he was poisoned by the Drengir, but he survived.
I thought he got like hit by the leveler.
He went into a coma. They went into a coma.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. He did get. Remember, he got the hive mind. They were connected. But with Tarrant and Sarah now is both of them are loaded with robotic, not enhancements, but they said like half of one of their face is robotic. One of them's got a robotic eye. One of them has a robotic arm. One of them has a robotic leg. So they were both affected by the leveler. And I don't know if he lost his arm or half his face or what, but half of them's now like machine. And the other half has got like missing limbs and stuff like that. So that's a little bit changed. So it's kind of neat, new characters. At the last minute, Kiev comes in and she just wrecks like all these huts, and she's like throwing people around. And so she seems really strong, and she's like sets up a lot of story for that. So, so those stories were good. A nice little character study. It started off really slow for me. Steven says the last two stories are slow, so. And then I haven't read the last two yet, so I'll just stop there.
I can't remember them now. It's like I'm saying, I can't remember. I have a bad job. My memory's crap anyway, as everybody should know. But I really can't remember much about any of these.
Yeah. So
the furry one's the only one I can remember anything about.
I always try to give recommendations if you should get it from your library. If this was because I buy very few books, so when I want to make sure I get a good story. And I bought this book specifically because Barnes & Noble had a whole extra chapter added to it. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to get it then because this is the only way I'm going to hear the story. But honestly, man, I would be fine just recommending people to just read it on Wiki. Like, if you can get it from your library for free or an audiobook where you can listen to it in pastime, or you just read the Wiki page, because it just doesn't have enough for me. It just doesn't so far. So
yeah, Ryan, I did look it up right now, and it said Vern assumed he was missing on Starlight when it happened.
Yeah, she has nightmares of him like bursting into flames. So, so again, she might have left the order before he was found or something, but she just says Stellan Gios is dead and Emery's dead. I'm like, what? So I didn't see anything about.
Well, he was like MIA on the ship, so he died on the ship, or on Starlight, whatever. So.
Yeah. So and now all the Jedi have left the planet because it's a month later, and I know we want to wrap up here at noon, but we have the Shadows of Starlight comic. But honestly, I don't think we have time for this. So I really think I want to say.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Ricky, it's only 4 issues. I gotta say, Phase 2 kind of like dragged me down as a whole. Remember, I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it yet, man. I just don't know if Phase 2 is worth the read until I read Phase 3. And man, but this Shadows of Starlight, this first issue comic, was better. 1 issue comic was better than every book and comic that I read for Phase 2. And it just totally cranked my love up for High Republic back up to 11. It's pretty much Yoda returns. He brings someone with him, which I'll discuss later, and then it ends up being a huge disaster. And like, and it talks about.
I'll have to find those ones then. I'll have to read those.
Yeah, and again, we'll talk about just because I know we're on a time crunch this time for me, but I would really like to dig more into this comic book, The Shadow of Starlight, and what happens directly after the fall, how the Jedi react. It's got a lot of Stellan. It's got a lot of Yoda, how he returns. It has a ton of other characters.
By next month, actually, probably, because we're probably going to be a bit later, aren't we, in December recording, we probably might have read, some of us might have read the first book by then, of Phase 3.
Oh, yeah, and I will already by then. Yeah, if it comes out the 14th.
I'll try. It's a buy for me.
Some of us will. Some of us will try to. Yeah. Yes.
So, it just takes longer for me to read books, because audiobooks I could finish in, a week or something like that if I'm driving for work. But books, man, it's hard to step away from work. It's hard to read before bed because I fall asleep. But I'm willing to put in the time for books because I could take better notes. I can understand it better. And Eye of Darkness, The Return of Mark Yenro, I haven't even read the snippets. I want to go into this book almost blind. It kind of sets up where everything's at. But man, this Shadows of Starlight comic.
But yes.
And it's written by Charles Soule, who kicked off this entire era as it is with, Light of the Jedi. So, but yeah, this comic is amazing. We'll touch on it later. I recommend picking it up if you can, even if it's digitally. Maybe Steven can hook you up if you know what I mean. But the comic's amazing. It has so much great information that fills in this era, and I can't wait for more of it. So
it's definitely. I mean, some of the comments we've had before have been, well, I mean, you're best reading them as a binge, especially the adventures ones. But this is like there's so much stuff in that first issue. And
it rewards people who did read Phase 2, and that's what I was looking for. So I'm like, okay, it definitely had, because the first thing is like, I haven't read Phase 2 yet, but this character, and I'm like, well, he's in Phase 2 if you want it. So, but again, we'll wait for all that. It was just cool. It was just cool all around, man. So if anybody hasn't read it, read The Shadows of Starlight. It kicks off Phase 3 in a big way, and it covers that gap that leads to, because Phase 3 is a year later. So Mark Rose controlled that outer limits of the galaxy for a year now. And this is looking sort of into that gap and how it gets through there before we get into Eye of Darkness. So I'm excited. And High Republic is like the big thing for me. That's holding me over because there's not really anything on TV. Everything just says, well, 2024 maybe for all these Star Wars shows. Like
anything on TV? Well, you've given up on Netflix. I'm filming Netflix now. Just I was about a year ago. I was sort of lamenting Netflix. There's nothing on this blooming thing. Why am I paying for it? I've just watched so much stuff this year on Netflix. It keeps recommending me stuff, and I keep lapping it up.
Yeah.
Dear.
So like Skeleton.
Terrible. Once it works out what you like, that's you
What's
going.
next for us on TV?
Skeleton Crew, but it has no date.
Yeah.
That's a movie. That's a movie, isn't it? I'm asking TV.
TV-wise.
Or Bad Batch 2 next, right?
Yeah, probably.
Well, Skeleton
Crew
Crew's
That's not good.
Yeah,
Skeleton Crew isn't a
live
movie.
action.
Skeleton Crew isn't a movie. It's a series.
It's a series. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I'm totally spaced on that.
And,
but you think that's next, or do you think we get Bad Batch next? We get Bad Batch next.
I haven't even seen a date for Bad Batch. I know Skeleton Crew was announced.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was asking the group as to what do we? I don't know that.
Did they even have a trailer for it?
What we're expecting or what's next?
Skeleton
Crew?
No, for Bad Batch.
Oh no.
No, yeah. See, they had a trailer for Skeleton Crew, so.
But only Celebration people saw it, right?
Yeah. Well, I saw it. And the Acolyte one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to see what's on.
So yeah, Skeleton Crew is supposed to be released in December, but it looks like they moved it to 2024 at some time. So it's like, no idea, man. So there's nothing official right now, and that's tough. I need some Star Wars and High Republic and books. Man, they are really filling that gap. I now have this book, another book, and the coming Eye of Darkness. So I got 3 books to fill me in, and this Phase 3 is going to be almost 2 years long. They're just spacing out these books by like 6 months. So
my library had the audiobook for Tales of Light and Life, so I just borrowed it. So
yeah,
I'm going to listen to it.
Is it audio? It's an audio.
Yeah, the audiobook.
Okay. It might be better as an audio, but for me, who likes to take a lot of notes and wants big, impactful stories, it just didn't work. As an audiobook, it might be nice to hear all these characters and how they help the galaxy, how they help IRAM, how they move forward and stuff like that. How they deal with
pew pews and all that stuff.
Yeah, they deal with I'll probably if it's on audio, if my library has it too, I'll probably listen to it on audiobook just to go for another shot. But I have to read it because it's the Barnes & Noble exclusive with an extra chapter. So I got to read this last chapter.
It's an extra chapter of what's his name walking around asking for the shield.
It's about I can't remember her name, but it's about from Midnight Horizon, that security guard girl.
The graph. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
something for you guys to check out, or anyone to check out. I don't know if I think it'll be out before our next Senator, right? Columbia Sportswear, outdoor wear, is doing another. They did something last year, maybe twice now, whatever, where they did like the cast and crew Norway coats or whatever. They're doing something very cool with Rebel pilot gear. So Rebel Luke orange jumpsuit, orange jackets, but performance gear to wear out. There's going to be Rebel goggles. I don't think that was Columbia specifically, whatever. But anyway, there's a promotion. There's a tie-in with a licensee with Luke. There's some commercials out there with Mark Hamill, and a race car driver, Bubba somebody that's the races the Columbia car. Just recently saw it, but it was just a neat promo, a neat tie-in with a vendor.
So I expect next time we will probably be talking about the High Republic again, and I expect we'll actually get around to having a good discussion on Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm, which happened 12 years ago, last month, apparently, which leads me on to the questions that I asked at the start, if everybody can remember. There were two questions. So in October 2012, George Lucas, the Godfather, sold Lucasfilm to Disney, but for how much? And it's in billions. I'll let you all know, and it's more than 1 billion.
Stop giving us hints.
Yeah.
I have my guess / answer.
I don't know if this is actually legit. I'm just going by what what most seem to say on the internet. I'm not sure if it's actually was disclosed or not at the time. But there's one figure that seems to be mentioned a lot on websites. So we'll go around and see what everybody's guess is. Round to the nearest billion. Let's not get stupid here.
In a $1.
Right. Give me a number. Yeah.
4.2.
Okay. Tony?
I'll go with an even 4.
Even 4. Ricky?
6.
6. Ron?
It was 4.5 billion.
4.5 billion. Well, that's not how it works, is it? Well, technically, the nearest would be Tony. The figure that seems to be bounded about a lot is 4.05 billion.
4.05, just over.
I knew it was the low 4 billions. I knew it was low 4.
Yeah, around about that much.
And what a bargain it was.
What a bargain, yes. Apparently, I read somewhere, I've got rid of the page here now, but apparently he also got like 30, I'm not sure it's 30,000. Yeah, I think it's about 30,000 shares in Disney, which are worth about $50 each at the time, and now worth $200 each. So do the math.
In addition to the 4.5 or the 4 billion, he got
he got shares in Disney.
And I thought about buying shares in Disney when it was all transpiring and didn't do it. Not that I would have bought it at 50. I think it would be interesting to see a timeline of the announcement of it and how Disney shares went up or whatever soon after or relatively after. But would have been a worthy investment of some ducats, no doubt.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the second question was, as of March in this year, 2023, if you wanted to watch everything Star Wars on Disney Plus, how many hours would it take you? And I did give a little clue that's more than 50 hours, less than 500 hours, just to give you a ballpark figure. So if anybody's been writing it down on pieces of paper, jotting down how many episodes there were in seasons and all that kind of stuff as we were talking, I doubt it. But if you want to throw out some numbers, Ryan?
Yeah, just for some Star Wars tie-in, I'm going to say 138 in representation of THX 1138. I'm just going to say 138.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, Tony?
I will say 353.
Ricky?
Let's say maybe 60.
60? 60 hours?
60 hours. It takes 24 hours to watch all the movies.
Well, yeah, but we're doing TV shows here too.
Yeah, no, but they're only like 35 minutes each.
Seasons upon seasons of TV shows.
Clone Wars. Okay, I'll go up to 75.
There's 133 episodes, I think, in Clone Wars alone.
And they're 16 minutes long. They are.
About 20 minutes, aren't they? About 20 minutes.
Yeah, there should be 22.
Don't forget about Tarkovsky. He's a good hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, no, he's not. There were 3 minutes. Well, the second season were 10 and 15.
If you watch them all, they're an hour and a half.
Season 1 and season 2 takes an hour and a half to watch.
Yeah, I think I binged them and they put them all together into one movie with no cutaways, and it's a movie.
Cool.
This was awesome.
I lost that just because I know season 1 was very short. It was, like I say, it was 3-minute snippets.
Okay, so Ricky's gone for a really low 60. Ron?
420.
420. 420.
Any particular reason, Ron?
Why are you laughing, Ricky?
Well, I'm just this time around Ryan would be the closest. This person on Reddit said it's to the nearest hour it'd be 175 hours. So if you're going to watch Star Wars 2 hours every day, every day, it would take 88 days to get through all everything Star Wars. That's a long time.
Is it listing? What?
Yeah, I was thinking there's TV shows, but you're right. The TV shows are only half-hour shows, and even that, it's 22 minutes. I was thinking those would be an hour a piece. Not that I factored into my number. I was just a total guess, but to hear the 175, if you would have given us multiple choice of 70, 175.
300.
Yeah, 390 and 480 or something like that or whatever. I don't know that I would have thought only 175, but
doesn't sound very much like that, does it? It doesn't sound very much, but that's quite a. That would be. Yeah. You'd have to stay all week, couldn't you? Just watch nothing but Star Wars all day.
I do.
Well, no, but that doesn't sound like long enough, does it?
I wonder if that includes Ewoks and all those behind the
Well,
scenes.
you'd have to hit play as soon as something else ended. You know how when a show ends and then you're till you find the remote and hit the next show, or it hits next. I guess it hits next for you, and then is that watching all the crazy? These modern shows have another 10 minutes worth of credits for all the people involved.
I remember when I used to try to binge all the movies in a day when there was only 6, and if I didn't start by like 7:20 in the morning, I wouldn't finish till like 9 or something like that. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've just started, about a week ago, I started rewatching Resistance. So hopefully, maybe we talk about Disney's time in Star Wars next month, hopefully. Maybe Ricky and myself can try to convince Ryan to watch it. That's my hope. But the fun thing is, it comes up with the skip credits, skip opening credits, skip title, what it is. And then literally the title lasts for 5 seconds in Star Wars Resistance. It's just that's it.
Resistance was just one season, yeah?
Yeah.
2.
1 and 2, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And it comes up with skip titles. I'm like, it's hardly worth it.
It takes longer to load.
So I think the remote up and press the button, it's gone.
I think that's a construct of the streaming service. Netflix does it. Disney Plus does it. But yeah, so if the show doesn't have much to skip, it doesn't have much to skip. But it's just built into the.
Yeah. Anyhow, I'm really enjoying it. Second time round, I hope we'll say a bit more about it next time. Anyway, it's even more fun than the first time round. So anyhow, we're at the end, folks. This is how the episode ends, as always, with thunderous applause, and it's time for my senators to say goodbye before we all leg it back to the real world. So it's goodbye from Ryan.
Goodbye there.
Goodbye from Tony. He's really said goodbye already. It's goodbye from Ricky.
We're lightened for life.
And it's goodbye from Ron.
Cheers, everyone.
I think Tony's just back on the end.
Yeah, I just popped back in. Sorry, I had muted and I walked away. Goodbye, everybody. It was a good listen.
Most of our listeners do, Tony.
Yeah, it's my father last time. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Bye.
Good job.
Bye.
Stay safe out there.
Go switch off. I am the Senate.
Be sure to follow us online. We're at Facebook at PSW Senate. Join our Plus W Star Wars Facebook group, where we all are in there interacting. You can find us on Twitter at PSW Senate. On Instagram, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. And on TikTok, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Force will be with you, always.
just as roundly talk. I'm trying to remember. There's someone I saw something like, but where Disney made their money back on this, and they have. I won't say too much about it because, has Disney made a profit on Star Wars? Analysis of 39 steps of financial statement shows that Disney spent a total on making generated 1.3. The factor in, oh yes, so they have basically made money. That's what it means. But they lost some money on Solo, but made loads of money on all the other films.
Yeah. Disney's making plenty of money.
Oh yes, damn sure they will be.
Especially compared to everybody else. Like they're like, oh, movies are failing, and I'm like, yeah, everything's kind of failing right now. Nobody wants to go to the theater. What do you expect?
Interesting enough, just looking global box office runs for all Star Wars films. This is every Star Wars film. Unadjusted for inflation. So Force Awakens is at the top, but interesting enough, Solo's not at the bottom because there's one film, technically a film that made less. Old Smelly, Stinky, the Clone Wars movie.
What are you talking about?
All the global box office runs for all the Star Wars films, what made the most money? And Force Awakens made the most, and the Clone Wars made the least. Apparently, I don't know where they get this data from, but
yeah, I could definitely see Clone Wars making the least. It's an animated movie.
Right. So on the agenda, the only things I've got, because it talked about that. Ryan said it's a quiet time, desert time. What was the saying you said a few months ago about things not much happening? Can't remember. So all I've got is well, I can't remember what else we said. We've got Disney acquiring Lucasfilm, which was like 11 years ago, and going through everything since then. And we've got the Phase 3 of the High Republic starting up now, so we can talk a little bit about that. Do we have anything else? Oh, we've got to be done by 2 hours because Ryan's got to go. I've got to go too. So no last minute 20 minutes going on when we're supposed to be wrapping up. Something like that.
So we'll have a round table, which will be a bit. We'll hear from Ron's. Ron's Halloween stories, so that'll be good. And
then, the Halloween stories, yes.
You can ask questions, so to speak, or otherwise, right? Since we don't have any other great thing to show to review or whatever like that.
It's no news, is there?
No.
No. So I've got a list of everything that has happened since Disney bought stuff, so we can sort of.
So just save Ron last for the round table.
Yep. Right on. We shall do that.
You want to talk about the Shadows of Starlight comic? Did you read that or?
Yes. Yeah, I read the first one.
Kick off of Phase 3, pretty much.
It's really mostly set in the scene, isn't it? So it doesn't really spoil anything. It's basically setting up the scene for Phase 3 and how things are at the start.
It does a little more than that, but yeah.
But I forgot about it. I read it a month ago, so you have to remind me as you describe it, as we talk about. Oh, and Tales of Light and Life, haven't we? We got that.
Yeah.
Which to say. So there's a few things. Let me write that down here. So we got.
When does the Martian Row book come out?
2 weeks. A
Okay.
week, 10 days.
I haven't read anything new.
Well, I thought it was sooner than that.
No, it's because they keep releasing snippets of it. Like, oh, here's a teaser, and review embargoes have listed. So there's lots of spoilers that are starting to kind of pop up because people are allowed to review it online now. You know, all the streamers or whatever. So they can do all their thing, but I'm like, wait a minute, I got 2 weeks before the book comes out. I don't want to know anything. And it's going to take me a month after that to read it. So.
Yes, there's an extra out, isn't there? I haven't read that, so I can't be bothered. Might as well just leave it until the book's out. Okay. Right, so we might as well get going then. Whoever is ready. Anybody else want to inject anything else to put on the agenda before we get going? We could do a full meeting. We have any other business at the end.
We can talk about Willow.
We know, yeah. Okay, folkies. All boys club. Okay, we'll get going. And we'll just see how it goes. This is going to be one of our classic Senates where we just literally just make things up as we talk the subject up as we go along, rather than anything greatly on the any rigid agenda anyway. Okay, so let's get going. I'll get my script up. There are some questions, some relevant questions to the little that we have on the agenda. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay,